Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. It's been a lovely day today. Spring's on its way. I think the temperature outside has been about 16-17 degrees, so very nice. I wanted to get on with some jobs out in the garden. I've done a bit of trimming today, and I've also made a tomato planter. So that's what's coming up in this video. To start with, you'll see a little trip round the tomato planter I built last year, and to show you the results from the tomato plants that went in it. And then we're going to get straight on with building this year's tomato box. It's going to hold 2 plants. It's made out of scrap wood, old decking wood that I acquired, a few staples, screws. Probably the only thing you've got to buy is a few screws, really. I'm sure you've got a bit of waste paint that you can, or old paint that you can actually dab around the sides. Now, if you like what you see on the channel, please give us a like, share it if you like, if you want to, and more than anything, it would be good if you subscribe, because that really helps the channel come along. Let's crack on with the show. See you shortly. So here's a tub. Get out of the way, Felix. Here's a tub I built earlier in the year. Bit of variety of tomatoes. Got some cherry-like tomatoes, and we've been eating these since for the last 3 weeks probably, and it's now 2 weeks into August. They crop quite well, and you could just pop them in your mouth when they're ripe. They only go orange. Difficult to see in this sunlight, but that's practically ripe. Lots of ripe ones down there. Next to it we have these, what are they? Beef stock tomato. Beefsteak tomato atlas. And they too like nice bit of fertiliser in the box. I mean, this is just leftover decking screwed together, but these beefy ones are beefy. That one's ripe. We've had a few of these already. That one's just turning ripe. And then in the other box, which is just an apple box, and we've got Money Maker here, and this one. They're not as good as the other ones I've got. Oh, that sunlight's bright. I've got Cocktail Crush. And this one, and come around this side, more traditional type of tomato. Well, they're all going to be ripening probably at the same time, which will be a little bit annoying, but we'll have to make some chutney, if nothing else. Yeah. So these are my little tomatoes, growing along quite nicely. These are Sun Gold. Got a long way to go yet. It's only mid-March. It's been a slow start to spring this year, but we're hoping for some warmer weather for long. So what I need to do is make another box like that, nice and sturdy, out of decking timber. I use this apple box last year, but I think the bottom's getting a little bit rot on it, so we're going to make an extra box. So I've already cut my timbers. I've got a bit of leftover arris rail that I'm going to use for two of the corners, and then there's a piece of leftover 3 by 1.5 maybe inches we're talking. So I've got I'm just going to have a couple of pieces. That's going to make one side. There's 6 of those, so I'll do one side, one floor, and the other side. And then we've got short pieces for the ends, so there'll be one on top of the other, like that. And then once they're all screwed together, we will line it, paint it, plant it up. Okay, we want four pieces 30 centimeters long. I've made a mark at the 30. We'll square that off using the saw, just like that. Draw a line down there, and the same that side. We'll get 2 pieces out of that bit of wood, and the other piece is going to have to be a bit of rectangular, squarish type timber rather than this triangular arris rail. So using the saw as a square, get your lines down the sides, out of the way, gone all the way around. Saw it off next. So when you're cutting the timber, make sure you've got something steady to do it on. I'm just using an old table. Then you should be able to get the saw to follow the lines that you've marked up. Hold it firmly, don't cut yourself. I've actually gone and found another piece of arris rail. So I got 3 lengths out of the first piece, and save me cutting an odd bit out of that. So the next job is to pre-drill some holes in the decking board that's already been sawn up. Pre-drilling because we don't want to split the wood by just trying to force screws through. And the next choice is, of course, appearance. So I'm going to use that on the outside, although it's a little bit rough in places. It hasn't had stain put on it, and the new stain that I put on, which is going to be a green, or I think it's going to be a green, will take to that surface a lot better than that, which has been well worn and pre-stained a few times. I'm also going to put a countersink on the holes, just to stop it from splitting open. Do that to every piece, then we'll screw it together. What I've done here, now I'm about to start screwing the sides together. I've got all the side pieces pre-drilled, and I've got my corners and the leftover piece of arris rail. If you can see, I don't know whether you can see, I've just put a couple of small tacks in there, and that's going to hold the odd spare bit of arris rail that I've got left. You could use any wood really, but this is just a simple way of keeping that in place while I screw on a side piece and they won't move. I'll support it at the end. Should work fine. Okay, that's how I wanted it. All ready for drilling. Support the other end with another piece of timber. So I've got these decking screws, and they're going to go down into there, not that far, so they're not going to stick out. Just hope they don't split the arris rail. We'll find out in a minute. That's one end done, and I mean, this isn't going to be a work of art. It's going to be a tomato planter, and I should now be able to lift it away with the corner piece intact, and then we can work on the other end. And there we have the first side completed. It's not too bad. Do another one of those and we can screw them together. Got the sides done, both matching. And now we're going to fix the ends on. So, using my trusty table, I'm going to put the side piece down there and screw in at the bottom. Do the same this side, so that it's in the right spot, and then put the top section on. It should move a little bit until I get it reasonably square, and then once the screws are in, it'll all go nice and rigid. Got one screw in the bottom of each section. Can't see that one very well, but one there and there. We'll grab another side piece, but as you can see, it's a little bit out, and that is why I've only put the single screw in there, and that allows me to push that side that way, that side that way, until that squares up, and then we'll screw it all together properly and it'll be nice and firm. Here we are then. Done this end. And yes, there are gaps. That is for air circulation and drainage. There'll be more gaps in the bottom as well to help the water drain out. A bit of a schoolboy error. I was intending to go that way, but I didn't. For the floor, this is, didn't account for the extra length either end. See, a good chippy would know all about that, but I'm not a good chippy. Okay, so what I'm going to do, rather than waste these pieces, I'm going to go crossways like that, and just cut that length there, and the same with this one, and cut that there, and then cut two new pieces to go in the middle. Yeah, still be just as strong. Okay, so screw this end on, which I'm utilising as a table. Just do the other end. Not too much. We'll split the wood. Oh, one more. I mean, you can see there, I don't know whether you can see that. It's just, it's a bit out of focus. But going too far down, and that's going to split either side of that screw hole there. So you mustn't go too far. Okay, so all I've got to do now is a couple of pieces there and there, across to the other side, and then we can paint it. So there it is, box complete, floor on, gaps in the bottom for drainage. I'm just going to paint it now, and then line the inside with membrane, weed-proof membrane, just to keep the compost in, so it doesn't fall out all the gaps in the bottom and the sides. But that'll do for another 2 tomato plants in there. Nice and roomy. Tomatoes like a lot of depth, so they're going to go quite deep here. Plant them deep and you'll get good results. Okay, so I've saved you all the pain of watching me paint this box, or this tomato planter, which is what it's going to be. So I've got the first coat on it. I've come across in my shed some little feet, so I'm going to put 4 little feet on it to keep it off the ground, somewhere around there. So we're going to screw them in. Quite a simple job, and then we'll turn it up side, not upside down, turn it the right way up, and then I can line it out. So pre-drill some holes. I've done a few already. One last one to do, and that's going to go here. Once again, we're doing the pre-drills so that the wood doesn't split out. And then we're going to screw in hopefully. Yeah, nice and firm. Do that 4 times. Good, one more. Excellent. Now the box has 4 little feet. So what we're going to do is grab hold of a roll of breathable mesh. This is weed control fabric, and we're going to cut a strip off, and we are going to lay it and staple it in place on the bottom and up around the sides. And it's easier to do it in 2 sections, so put your bottom bit in first, staple it round, and then cut another one to go around the top, and that way the side piece overlaps the bottom, so the compost can't get in between the two. That's the theory. It worked last time, so I'm doing it again. So cut a section out and just lay it in the bottom and bring it up the side part way and staple it in place, and then do the same over this side, and then pull the ends out and staple that in. Doesn't matter if it's untidy, you're not going to see it, it's going to be full of compost. It's merely to keep the compost in place so it doesn't fall in through the cracks. Yeah, good old staple gun. Okay, so bottom layer of membrane is in place, stapled to the sides, and it's not tidy because it doesn't need to be. You're not going to see any of it, because not only that, we're going to put another section right up round to the top, and that's going to overlap this bottom bit and be stapled in place, and you won't see much of this which is here, only the bit that's on the bottom. So what I do, I get hold of my membrane and just put a hem on the top all the way around and staple it along the edge or level with the edge like that, so you don't have any rough bits sticking up. Go all the way around the edge, and then once it's in at the top or stapled all the way around, just let it drop down the bottom and then staple it in a few places to keep it in place. Got there in the end. It's all lined out with this fairly lightweight weed membrane. Just use whatever you've got. And the bottom is double thick. I'll put an extra piece on top, just so that it makes double sure that there's no compost going through. And of course, as long as that side overlaps the original piece at the bottom, it's not going to leak any compost out. I hope you found that useful. See if you've got some old wood laying around and knock yourself up a tomato planter. We don't have to use them just for tomatoes. You could put any plants in there. It's a good sturdy box and will last for years. All I'm going to do, give it a second coat of paint, and even that is just ordinary fence paint, so there's lots of variations in colours. So I'll give it another coat of paint, and then that'll be it. Job's a good one. See you in the next video.